What up, what up, what up? It's your homeboy B. Watt, and you are now tuned in to another episode of Cancel B. Watt. Listen, many of y'all took the mark of the beast. A lot of y'all made the decision to go ahead and get the jab, and I'm not here to judge you. That is between you and God. I have family, friends, and loved ones who were personally affected by COVID. So with that being said, I just want to take a few minutes to make fun of you slow mofos and recap everything that has happened over the last 2 or 3 years since COVID, since y'all decided it was a good idea to let the government inject a foreign substance into your body. Yes, I'm about to make fun of and talk shirts about all of you people who decided to get vaccinated because in all honesty, you deserve it. You vaccinated people were extremely mean. And now it is time to pull out the receipts. Let me ask you all, were vaccinated people not extremely judgmental, prejudiced, and discriminatory towards those who had decided not to get vaccinated? And now it's pretty funny because, as they say, vision is 20/20 in hindsight, and vaccinated people, you were incorrect. You were wrong about everything. You vaccinated people had such a negative attitude towards your unvaccinated counterparts. You talked about people and treated people like they were irresponsible adults when, in hindsight, all they were doing was the research. All they were doing was thinking critically. And here are the receipts. Did you vaccinated people not resend rating invitations? Did you vaccinated people not have an attitude when one of your family members didn't want to wear a mask at a family event? Did you vaccinated people not allow the government to trick you out of hugging your loved ones for 2 years because you want to social distance? Like I said, I'm just taking a moment to make fun of y'all because I understand how serious it is. I understand that many of you thought you were making a sacrifice for the greater good. But where you went wrong was when you started to judge people who did not agree with your ideology. Well, in all actuality, you went wrong when you got the jab in the first place. But that's the purpose of this episode. Because not only did you get the jab yourself, but you peer pressured other people into getting the jab also. Just get the jab, you said. Now I understand. Measles, mumps, chickenpox. It's sincerely a difficult decision whether or not to be vaccinated, whether or not to get your children vaccinated. And even in this moment, I struggle with these decisions. And it's not like I'm unvaccinated, right? I mean, I went to school. I'm vaccinated. My mom and my father got me vaccinated as a child for various different things. I just didn't get COVID vaccinated. I mean, first of all, it was mind-blowing to me that people were lined up around the block before the FDA could even approve these vaccinations. A lot of you people was ready to get it before they could even test it. Listen, it takes more than a few weeks, months, and sometimes years to hold proper clinical trials. It takes years to see the medium and long-term effects that these chemicals can have in your body. There has not been enough time that has passed for us to start to know the ramifications of the vaccinations, but we're starting to see though. My vaccinated people, here's my question. Knowing everything that we know now, having gone through COVID, if you could do it all over again, would you get vaccinated again? Do you really stand on the decision that you made? Knowing everything that we know now, if you had to do it all over again, would you get vaccinated again? That is my question. Because let's be honest, most of you vaccinated people got it again after you got vaccinated, and maybe again after that too. Even the lying issue himself, Anthony Fauci, even caught it multiple times. And speaking of Anthony Fauci, listen, Anthony Fauci and the CDC were wrong about damn near everything. These people were completely negligent of their duties to the American public. It is basic science that the human body has a self-immunization process, and I would prefer to be protected by God rather than allow the United States government to inject me with a foreign substance. How many booster shots do you people have to receive before you realize that Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna did not have our best interests at heart? You vaccinated people deserve this. Here's an example of what I mean. For all my sports fans, Stephen A. Smith infamously criticized Kyrie Irving for making the decision to remain unvaccinated. Kyrie Irving passed on a 4-year, $100 million deal so that he could stay true to his spiritual beliefs. Kyrie Irving jeopardized his NBA career so that he could exercise his basic human freedom and make the decision for himself as to whether he should be vaccinated or not. At that time, Kyrie was playing in Brooklyn, New York. New York had a mandate that unvaccinated employees could not go into work. Therefore, Kyrie Irving could not play in any home games. And his organization, the Brooklyn Nets, they were not very supportive of his decision. They elected not to have Kyrie as a part-time participant. Is that not ostracizing Kyrie Irving? Did the issue people who own the Brooklyn Nets not tell Kyrie Irving that he could not buy or sell his basketball talents unless he got vaccinated? Did Stephen A. Smith not absolutely berate Kyrie Irving every day on national television on the #1 sports morning show in all of the United States of America? Stephen A. Smith made Kyrie Irving the face of anti-vaccination discrimination. And to Kyrie's credit, he kept it solid. Kyrie Irving became the self-proclaimed voice of the voiceless. And it's so funny to me how the national media, the NBA, likes to completely ignore the hundreds and thousands of people who used to go to Kyrie Irving's games just to stand outside and celebrate the sacrifice that Kyrie Irving had made. But not the NBA, not the Brooklyn Nets. Stephen A. Smith said that Kyrie Irving was selfish because he put his own political beliefs over his organization's aspiration for a championship. Shout out to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving already has championships. Kyrie Irving has already gotten paid. Kyrie Irving has already cemented his legacy in the NBA. Recently, Stephen A. Smith came out and admitted that during the coronavirus lockdown, even he himself caught COVID. Stephen A. Smith said he was in bad shape. Both of his lungs were filled with fluid. He had pneumonia. His liver went bad. He said every night he was waking up with a 103-degree temperature. It was kind of confusing to him because he said his sister caught COVID too, and his sister smoked all the time. She had COVID for 2 or 3 days, recovered quick, but him, it almost took him out. Now, thankfully, Stephen A. Smith made it through that health crisis. He recovered successfully. But I can't do the math on this. Stephen A. Smith said that if he were unvaccinated, he would no longer be with us today. I don't remember Kyrie Irving's lungs being filled up with pneumonia. I don't remember Kyrie Irving having to be hospitalized. Shit is crazy to me. In the past year, New York has lifted all mandates. Now the COVID-19 vaccination is optional for employees. Everybody has went back to work. Nowadays, if you catch COVID, you're paid sick leave so you can stay home for a few days. I think New York might even compensated those folks who lost income because of the forced vaccination mandates from their employers. I hope they took care of Kyrie first. And let's make it clear, am I saying that COVID was fake? That people didn't get sick? Am I saying that real people didn't lose their lives as a result of the COVID virus epidemic? Of course not. I'm not saying that, but I do think that more people got sick from the vaccination than the actual virus. You vaccinated people wore masks on your faces for years. Even now I see people wearing masks every now and then. This is absolutely ridiculous. The CDC has admitted that masks provided limited protection, that it only made people feel good. You vaccinated people just could not understand that some people felt like being forced to wear a mask on your face and cover your face was a violation of their personal liberties. Still to this day, there has been no evidence that wearing masks made any difference whatsoever. Anthony Fauci, the CDC, the American government swore up and down the block that the coronavirus pandemic did not start in a laboratory. Former President Donald Trump was honest with the American people and said it came from China. Of course, they ridiculed him. Of course, they've ostracized him. But now, 3 years later, it is public information that the coronavirus came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You vaccinated people said that was a conspiracy theory. The FBI has publicly investigated and concluded that this is true. It was not a conspiracy theory. The coronavirus did in fact come from China. The United States government overreacted to COVID And they vaccinated a whole population of human beings for no reason. They enforced unprecedented lockdowns, which crippled the economy, which hurt families, which had social and economic ramifications. Donald Trump endured so much ridicule and public shame for making the decision to open back up the economy, but looking back, it was clearly the correct decision. These people closed high schools, only to find out that kids and young people didn't even get COVID like that. And of course, they still decide to force vaccinate these children, despite the scientific evidence. And now they're trying to figure out why there has been such an increase in cardiac complications amongst the youth. Shout out to Bronny James. We have no idea what the long-term ramifications of allowing the U.S. government to inject our children with mRNA vaccinations are. But that's how it is. Vision is always 20/20 in hindsight. The science said that vaccinations would not be effective. The science has said vaccinations have not been effective. The media has been calling that misinformation. And you, geniuses, decided to listen to them and get the jab. Now, to all vaccinated persons, I have a couple of questions. And keep it real with me. My question earlier was, if you could do it all again, knowing what you know now, would you get vaccinated again? My second question is this. Is there anybody out there who got vaccinated but now regrets it? Is there anybody out there who got the first jab and didn't feel right and didn't go back for the second jab? I have had plenty of vaccinated persons tell me that they have never felt the same since they've been vaccinated. I want to know if there's anybody out there who now regrets allowing the media, their family, their friends, their employers to force them to receive an injection that is no longer required less than 3 years later. To all of those people, please hop in the comments so we can have a conversation. And I would like everybody to listen, like, and subscribe. And tune in again to another episode of Cancel Be Watt.